we talk about AI, we get so caught up in the final product, right? The slick answer, the amazing image, the task that's suddenly automated. But what if we're looking in completely the wrong place? Today, we're going to dig into why real AI governance doesn't start with the output at all. Nope, it starts way deeper, inside the life cycle of the data itself.
See, here's the thing. The way most organizations are talking about AI right now, it's kind of from the outside in. They're all asking about performance and speed and what the user sees. And look, those things matter, but they completely miss the foundational point. And this really makes you wonder, are we even asking the right questions? Are we so mesmerized by what AI does that we're completely forgetting to ask how it's doing it in a way that's actually reliable and trustworthy? This slide just spells it out perfectly. We're all used to these common questions. How big is the model? How good is the output? How fast is it? But we need to shift to a much more demanding question, the real question. What actually happens to data before, during, and after an AI touches it? Just asking that one thing changes the entire conversation. And this metaphor just nails it. We've all heard this a million times, right? Data is the new gold. But we tend to focus only on digging it up, the extraction. The real challenge, the thing that creates actual, lasting value, is governance. It's about how you manage that gold, how you secure it, and how you use it responsibly. Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we get this governance thing right? Well, the source material proposes a framework for this very thing, the conscious data lifecycle. It's a way to think about data not as just a bunch of random events, but as one coherent, managed process from start to finish. And this whole life cycle, it really boils down to 4 connected stages: creation, usability, persistence, and reuse. Now, these aren't just buzzwords. They're the critical moments where your information either gains real value or it starts to fall apart. So let's break down how this works step by step. Each of these stages is what the source calls a governance moment. Think of them as critical checkpoints, opportunities to build trust and value right into your data. And it all starts at the very beginning, with creation. All right, first up, data creation. This is ground zero. It's the moment someone writes a report, a system logs a transaction, or a photo is taken as evidence. It seems super simple, but this is exactly where the seeds of so many future problems get planted. And that's because just making data isn't valuable in itself. If that data is created in a vacuum without any context or a clear origin story, its value starts to decay almost instantly. So the crucial move is to treat creation as that first governance moment. We have to be asking, who made this? Where did they get their information? What was the process here? And who's accountable for it? If you can't answer these questions, your data might exist, but it's basically useless from day one. So you've created the data. Great. But now we hit the next stage, data usability. And honestly, this is where a ton of organizations quietly fail. They have mountains of data, but just having it doesn't mean it's usable. Usability means you can find it, you can understand it, and you can actually do something with it. And to get there, your data needs structure. It needs to be readable. You've got to have discipline around who can access it, and you have to be able to trace how different pieces of information connect to each other. Without that, you don't have a data asset, you just have a very expensive hard drive. The third governance moment is data persistence. This is all about making sure your data isn't fragile. It needs to last. It has to survive system upgrades, people leaving the team, and still be verifiable years down the road. This is absolutely critical in any professional environment. And I love this distinction. Persistence isn't just about backing up your files. It's about operational continuity. Can this information still be audited, defended, and understood 5 or 10 years from now? That's the real test. And finally, we get to the payoff, data reuse. This is where all that hard work from the other stages really starts to compound. It's about taking that well-governed, trusted information and using it for new things, like training a model or a compliance review, without it losing its meaning or your trust. Because think about the alternative. The cost of getting this wrong is huge. If you can't reuse your data safely, every single new project has to start from scratch. Your organization isn't actually getting smarter, it's just repeating the same work over and over and over again. So let's bring this all back to AI. Why is this whole conscious data lifecycle idea the absolute bedrock of good AI governance? Well, here's a critical warning for right now. A large language model can take a complete mess of poorly governed, unusable data and generate a beautifully written, totally fluent-sounding answer. But that fluency doesn't magically fix the junk underneath. In fact, it's dangerous because it hides a lack of substance behind really persuasive words. The real question for any AI system isn't just, is the output pretty? It's whether the entire life cycle behind that output is defensible. Can you trace it back to the original source? Can you review the process? Can you link the AI's answer back to actual evidence? If the answer to any of those is no, then you don't have a trustworthy system, period. And this all brings us to the main takeaway. If you want to build trustworthy AI, you have to start by building on solid ground.
Just let that sink in for a second. That polished answer you see from an AI, that's the very last thing that happens. The real decisions, the truly important structural ones about creation, usability, and persistence, they all happened long before the AI ever saw the data. The output is just a reflection of the foundation you already built. So here's the bottom line. The future of AI isn't just going to be about more powerful models. It will be defined by how well we build a conscious, governed life cycle around the data that fuels them. It's about treating information not as some raw material to be burned through, but as a core asset to be managed with real intention. And that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. Take a hard look at the intelligent systems being built in your world. Are they being constructed on a foundation of governed value, or are they maybe, just maybe, built on something a lot more unstable? The answer to that question might just decide their entire future.